So one of our customers said that marketing is beginning to look a lot like engineering, that you need a really solid architecture, a solid foundation upon which you run your marketing execution. And I believe this framing is right, and Magi's platform is built on this framing. So I'm going to show you three things today. Number one is that anyone can build this architecture and this foundation. You do not need to be an engineer. And we start on the Magi platform with what we call the marketing ontology, and we have an opinionated view of what this marketing ontology is for B2B tech companies. And it starts with the specific market that you play in, your ICP, your buyer persona, your competitors, your influencers, etc. And then it is the brand ontology, which is also the most comprehensive view of your brand across all the different surfaces. But it also brings in everybody on one shared foundation, which is the founder, the CEO, the visual identity, the creative designer. It is the voice and tone, the PMM, the messaging, the content guidelines, including your growth marketing team or your SEO and AEO team for keywords and prompts, content guidelines, social media, etc. So essentially making sure that you have the proper guardrails and the proper definitions for your brand. That is a really core part of on-brand marketing execution, and the same thing happens for product as well. So that's number one, is that anyone can build this foundation, and you can start with a sort of opinionated view and you can continue to fine-tune it. Number two, what I then want to bring out is this agentic layer that is running on top of this ontology or this foundation is also continuously running and is considering the end-to-end marketing execution. That it is not just considering like content creation as a one-shot thing, but really starting from growing this marketing brain continuously. And this happens with a growing knowledge base that is happening both from external research that's happening for your specific market ICP, and then it's also happening from your internal knowledge that is all coming in one place, so that expert knowledge is sitting together in one system, and that's giving more autonomy for people to go execute without having to ask your PMM or ask your CSM for the specific insights that marketing depends on. So having an agentic system means that it is doing this for end-to-end execution, starting with research, which is knowledge. It also comes down to ideas, like what type of content ideas or campaign ideas you can derive from that, and then ultimately create content and distribute content, and then also learn from this content. So as an example, what I'll show you here is, like, let's say if there's a healthcare vertical campaign, this campaign has all of the context, which is specific insights on this audience, and that you need to cater to, and that you're trying to educate this market, or you're trying to build a relationship with the audience over here. And a campaign like this would require you to have like a design system for the landing page. It needs to, again, which then gets distributed to, let's say, a system like WordPress or HubSpot. You'd also have let's say emails that are getting now distributed to your email systems. You could have LinkedIn, where you are publishing, let's say, weekly cadence, and you need automatic publishing that's happening to LinkedIn, and all of these have dependencies for knowledge, number one. So having one source where this knowledge, like you see a citation that's over here, making sure that whether it's an internal document or whether an external source, that you have a credible source that is always linked, and then you also have on-brand visuals that are getting generated, and this is getting generated because we have this common design system, and then that is also bringing a common asset library that you can always swap. So you're always having the approved assets from, if you do have a designer, you're getting approved assets from the design team, but also that the system is continuing to learn, but is also creating on-brand visuals for you. That's an example for LinkedIn, but similarly, like you have things around email. Let's say you have email marketing that's going out, and all of this again needs to be on brand and aligned to templates, etc. So what you're really seeing is that once you do have like an agentic system that's looking at every step of the way, from research to ideation to content creation, which is converging copy as well as design and the publishing workflows, that's when you begin to see like the overall organizational impact. And what I then want to bring about is the individual impact, and that comes back to the empowerment that you give the individual. In this case, it could be a marketer, but it could many times also be a non-marketer, to be able to execute without depending on a designer, without depending on a developer or a marketing ops person, to be able to ship their campaign, or essentially to ship a particular content piece, or even for sales enablement as an example, for them to be able to support sales is also a very important part. So all of this happens with autonomy, so that like whether it's a marketer or a non-marketer, they're able to now execute with autonomy. And ultimately that's what happens, is that you are able to get more you're going to get more compounding impact when the individual is now empowered to do a lot more, right? They're able to do that on their own with autonomy, and that's when transformation really happens and the whole talent pool is getting upskilled.